Hi, welcome to first episode of Wednesday Watches. Today I'm going to be reviewing some stuff that you guys recommended for me. I'll probably, using this format, I'll probably do 3 movies each week. So just keep the recommendations coming. I'll review anything, basically. I don't want to watch something like The Kissing Booth or The Kissing Booth too. But if it's something I wouldn't typically talk about, like Mean Girls or something, then I'll cover that. But just don't go full uh, stupid movie, please, because then I'll just run out of things to talk about. So first things first, this one was recommended by Skylar, I believe. Shutter Island. Really, really good movie from Martin Scorsese. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is really good in it, and so is Mark Ruffalo. I think the cinematography is really good. It's Robert Richardson. He's done a few other ones that He's good at capturing mood, of which this movie is really good at. It's dark. It's confusing. You really are in the mind of the character for a lot of the movie. I think there's a lot of positives. I think it's a really great movie. I remember that the sound design was really good. It takes place on the island, so there's a lot of water splashing in the back from like the ocean and stuff, and I think that's really well done. I think going back to the cinematography, I think all the cinematography is really great. Especially the first scene really sticks out to me, where they're getting off the boat and it's super foggy, and it's like 10 minutes of them just walking up to the entrance of I think it's an asylum that they're at, or a hospital. So that's all really well done. I think really the only complaint I can think of for this movie is that it is a little predictable. A lot of people talk about the twist ending that this movie has, and even on the box, it has a review that says a stunning masterpiece that requires and demands multiple viewings. Um, Essentially, one viewing was good enough for me. It is something that I would like to watch again, but I don't think multiple viewings is really necessary. I think the score is really good. I already talked about. The music is good. There's one scene in particular, where it shows a flashback to Leonardo DiCaprio's character. It's like almost like a dream. Really iconic. It'll be in the thumbnail, um, where Leo is holding his wife, and the music played in that is "On the Nature of Daylight" by Max. I want to say Richter. And that score is excellent. That music was also used countless other things like Disconnect with Jason Bateman and Arrival with Amy Adams. Uh, Really, that one of my favorite film scores for sure. That song. It's been used in a lot of stuff though. But overall, I think Shutter Island is a really good movie. It's it's at a 9 for me, but thinking and talking about it right now, I kind of want to drop it to an 8 just until I rewatch it, which I might make soon. There's there really is a lot to appreciate here. It's just a little too predictable, which doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing, because I try to look at movies objectively. So if one person predicts it and the other doesn't, then I don't really see it as a fault. It just doesn't make my experience as enjoyable as it is for some others. But overall, it's a really, really great movie. It's a really great one. If you haven't seen it, I definitely check it out. Um, it's like one of the highest rated movies. It's like super high on the IMDb 250, which I can understand why. There's a lot to enjoy there, and I think you guys will enjoy it too if you haven't seen it. So for the second film recommendation, it comes from Kevin, and it is I Am Legend, starring Will Smith. I want to say it's directed by Francis Lawrence, but I haven't double checked that. So I remember really liking it as a kid, especially like around 10. Um, I was obsessed with doomsday movies at the time, so stuff like 2012 and The Day After Tomorrow and stuff like that. And I loved the concept, which has been done in multiple other movies because they're all based off the same book. The first version, I want to say, is The Last Man on Earth, and then there's also The Omega Man. Charlton Heston, who played Ben Hur, was in the original version, and so I remember really, really liking I Am Legend when I was a kid. But recently, about a year ago, I was on a skiing trip, and I remember on TV in the like resort that we were staying in. Wasn't a resort; it was more like a cabin. They had a TV, and I rewatched I Am Legend for the first time in years, and it blew me away with how stupid it was. I really disliked it. There's still moments that I think are really great. I think the first half hour is really solid, where um, Will Smith is by himself and he's going down the streets with the dog. I think that's a really it's solid. It's quaint. He's like farming and testing stuff, and just going down the empty streets of New York with the dog, and him and the dog share a really excellent scene about, I want to say, halfway in the movie or like 2/3, and but my biggest issue with it, other than being stupid, is the it looks so ugly. It's such an ugly movie. The visual effects have not aged well whatsoever, especially they're like zombie vampires or whatever the threat in the film is. It's such an ugly movie. I know that it came out in like 2008, so I got to cut it some slack for the visuals. But there's stuff that came out in like the 80s that looks better than this. It's just really dumb looking. It doesn't look scary. I know that for the time it was pretty cool. It wasn't great still, even as a kid. I thought it looks fine. But now it just looks really bad. Another complaint I have is the ending. This movie's kind of famous for having two endings. One ending I definitely prefer over the other. I don't want to get into spoilers for this, so there's a regular ending and an alternate ending, and I don't want to get it wrong, but I think I prefer the alternate ending. It's on the DVD special features, just because the one of the endings is really cheesy, and because the movie had an original ending, which is the ending that's on the DVD special features, but they tested it with audiences, and they thought, oh, this is like a downer ending. I don't like how it ends, so they recut it with a different ending, and it's lame. I think it's really stupid, and it could have been handled a whole lot better, which I think the the original ending was a whole lot better. Overall, I think it's average, which I think is too bad, because the idea is fantastic. I think a whole lot cool could come out of it. It's just the execution is overall pretty lame. So I think I have it at a 5. So the final film that was recommended was The Cat in the Hat, which I loved as a kid. I thought it was the greatest thing ever as a kid. I think Mike Myers is was probably the wrong choice to play the cat, because he was hot off the heels of playing Austin Powers in 3 movies, so he's still playing that character, but in a children's film. So there's a lot of adult humor in there. I know that the rating is PG for like innuendos or something and off color humor. It's something along those lines. And rewatching the movie, older, it's really bizarre. The cinematographer is Emmanuel Lubezki, who's my favorite cinematographer. He also did The Tree of Life, Birdman, Children of Men, which I covered yesterday, and so I think the best thing I can say about the movie is that for the most part it looks really good. I think the use of colors is solid. I like the town and the neighborhood that they live in. It's really the contrast with the green and the blue and the pink and everything looks really nice. But it also looks super ugly towards the end, because the plot involves like this cupcake goo or something. The house becomes filled with it, and then it turns into like a CGI nightmare. It looks super ugly. They ride like a Universal Studios ride at some point through this CGI wasteland, and it looks horrific. It like burns my eyes to look at it. I think it's really really ugly to look at, which is too bad because I think the rest of the movie looks really good. I think I think all the acting is fine for the most part. Alec Baldwin kind of annoys me. One scene that sticks out in particular for me is there's a part where he plays with his belly button or something. He's like picking lint out. If Dr. Seuss was still alive at the time, I think he would have been really disgusted with the whole thing. There's a reason that that was the last live action Dr. Seuss movie. They haven't done one since, just because his widow saw the movie and she was so disgusted with it. So everything after that has been CGI, like Horton Hears a Who and the Grinch and the Lorax. I think the Lorax is the worst out of all of them, though, for sure. Um, or the Grinch. I never actually finished the new Grinch. I really hated it. The only positive for that was the score by Tyler the Creator. But more on Cat in the Hat. There's some scenes that I think are really funny, to this day. That's just because I have a weird sense of humor. There's like a part where he takes the kids into a rave or something, and Cat is like dancing, and I don't even remember. It's stupid to think about, and the whole movie is really stupid. But I think that scene itself is kind of funny, and I like the part where um, it's like a cooking show, and he like cuts his own tail off, and then they bleep out the swearing and whatever. I think that part's pretty funny. He's like threatening himself and stuff. So that whole scene is also pretty good. There's a few scenes here and there that I think are still pretty funny, but I do think that a lot of it is still pretty awful. I think there's a lot with it that's really stupid. Um, Thing 1 and Thing 2 are kind of like terrifying in that. Um, and they're not funny. They're there to create noise. They're kind of like minions. They exist only as like comic relief characters, but it's already a comedy, so it's not really needed. Um, I know that that's how it is in the book, but if you want to adapt the book, then at least make it closer to the book. In the book, the cat comes off as like a maniac, and in the movie, he just kind of feels like a child. He seems like a kid, but at the same time, he kind of seems like a pervert. He's kind of like Michael Jackson, and his character just doesn't work in the movie. Overall, the positives and the negatives mesh together and kind of make this bizarre mess that was that worked okay for the time, even though I know that people hated it. I think it works okay for the time, but looking back on it now, it's it's messier than you think it is. But I also want to say that there are parts that I do find funny. I think watching it now, there'd be like 5 or 6 scenes where I do laugh. So as a comedy, it works okay. But most of the time, you'll just be scratching your head wondering what the hell is going on. Oh, another thing I want to add is there's a scene at the in the beginning where the mother of the children, she works in this place where the boss, her boss, um, is like an extreme germaphobe, and that boss also plays the fish, the talking fish. That's one of the characters, and I don't know why that was a decision. I don't know if they're trying to say something there. Like, I mean, I don't think they are, but it's just a choice that I don't really understand. If you want to have the fish be played by that actor, I don't see why have him play another actor. It's kind of like if Mike Myers were to play a different character in the movie, but then if he were to play a different character and the fish were to play a different character, then it would make it seem like the kids imagined the whole thing and they pulled things from reality in order to create this fantasy world or whatever. So that would at least make more sense. So yeah, the I'm looking too deep into it, but overall, I think I want to say it's average. I want to give it a 5, but at the same time, there's stuff with it that I think is really, really stupid. But then there's stuff about it that I really like. I like when children's movies try to push the envelope like that and have humor that the adults watching it can also enjoy. The whole thing's just kind of a fever dream. I think it's all a mess. I think, but it's an entertaining mess. So it's entertaining. It's definitely one that I could watch again. I saw it a whole lot as a kid, but the original book is definitely better. So I'll leave it at that for now. Thanks for watching this video. I'll have a second part to the DVD collection video that uploaded today. I might do that tomorrow or Friday. But also stay tuned for Sunday. It'll be the first episode of Criterion Sundays. I haven't picked a movie yet, but there's a few that I'm trying to choose between. So it's really down between 2 or 3 movies that I'm really trying to decide. But that'll be a longer discussion of the movie. It'll be like 20 minutes talking about that one specific film instead of here where I cut it up into 5 to 10 minute segments for each one. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If not, then leave a dislike. So that's all for today. I hope you have I hope that you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in a few days with a new video.